Guys, do we have sound? Oh, shit. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you, John Johns. Okay. We're not getting an echo or anything, are we? Okay, how about now? Thank you. Awesome. Okay, I thought it was playing through the mic app on OBS for my video capture, but since I'm running my sound through my webcam, you guys have probably noticed it's not been the greatest lately. For those that weren't in stream when my mic went out on me, so a little bit of adjusting. So thank you. But yeah, I think as MMA fans, as fight fans, I know a lot of us feel so connected to both of these fighters and this fight and this trilogy specifically. But I feel myself and the MMA with Friends family, I feel that, very connected to this card. Because of Sean O'Malley coming out of the coming out of Dana White's Contender Series, which is the fight they're showing right now if you're watching this on UFC Fight Pass. And my first big stream on MMA with Friends when it's Fights with Friends was Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou. And then, the most emotional, surprising moment I probably ever had on the mic, I would say probably not even probably. Maybe, maybe is up there, the Jorge Masvidal knockout, the knee on Ben Askren. But when Daniel Cormier knocked out Stipe Miocic in the first round, that's probably the most surprised I've ever been watching a fight. Definitely the most surprised I've ever been watching a fight up to that point live. I mean, just phenomenal. And then Stipe comes back in the rematch. Of course, I'm a big Stipe fan. I'm a big DC fan as well. But Stipe is my favorite fighter. I was so nervous for him in that second fight. And then I see him going down by rounds. And I see, DC is a bit heavier. But he's, he's outworking DC in those early rounds. And then you get into that fourth round. And Stipe lands those, I think it was 15 body shots in the fourth round. And DC crumbles. And it's such another electric moment. I feel like this is like the real life Rocky versus Apollo Creed. Dun 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 dun. I've had that music going through my head all week for whatever reason. And I think it's probably appropriate. Is Michael Polly up in here or virtually identical? Show yourself, sir. What's up, Austin GT? What's going on, everybody? I hope Stipe makes DC cry. Hey, I don't hate DC or his fingers, but I make no secret that I have a little bias towards Stipe because he is my favorite fighter. Like I said, I was extremely excited for DC, though. You couldn't help to be when he won that the first time. And I'm going to be excited for him again. If he beats Stipe again and he ends his career on that victory, I'm going to be excited again. And this fight, it's about as even as it can get. You have the odds makers have made this fight completely even down the line, minus 110 apiece. And how can you predict? What do you make your predictions based on guys that had two different fights with two different outcomes like this? So my big fight Saturday, baddest man on the planet. You are correct, sir. I tried to order that shirt. I wanted to order that shirt for this weekend. I was too late. I should have been on it earlier. But yeah, the baddest man on the planet. He's gonna fight either way on Saturday, and the baddest man on the planet. We did a video. We talked about the greatest heavyweight of all time. A lot of you guys chimed in on that. As far as the UFC, it's a small list. Fabricio Verdum, Cain Velasquez, and then these two. Of course, Fedor, a lot of people will argue that he'll always be the GOAT, and there's a great argument for that. He had such a long run, longer than probably anybody in the UFC. But whoever wins this is going to be something special for sure. And they're going to have that. The entire trilogy, whatever happens here, it's bragging rights for life. For life. And these guys were friends. They were texting back and forth and stuff until around the second fight, when DC said some things that, Stipe thought were disrespectful. The firefighters, the guys in the, in his shop, thought they were disrespectful. I thought they were somewhat disrespectful because DC called him entitled. Which, the dude's a firefighter. The guy's heavyweight champion of the world. The DC, equally busy. Let's not sell short his time as a high school wrestling coach. He doesn't need the money. He's not doing it for the money. He's doing it for the love of the game and the love of those students. He loves being behind the mic. He's already, in a short amount of time, gave us so many great moments behind the mic. He's one of the voices of EA UFC 4, which, of course, that our giveaway will happen on Saturday for EA UFC 4. Somebody's going to win a copy for PlayStation or Xbox. There's going to be second and third prizes as well, maybe even more, depending that night, though. I got some stuff set away. You guys will find out that night what's going down. But DC should not trade punches. Just so much wrestle. And Leon Stipe make it boring. I think Stipe wins. He looks lean and mean. He does, John Jones. I was watching him on the UFC 252 Embedded. I watched 2 and 3 because for some reason I clicked on 3 just today because it was suggested for me, and I guess I was just being lazy. I had 3, and then, number 2 played afterwards, so I started watching number 2. It's actually not on YouTube. I was watching on ESPN Plus, but I'm pretty sure it's on both of them. They showed Stipe at his house in the pool, and man, I don't ever remember that guy looking better. Everything I hear out of Stipe's camp is he wants to come in at under 240. I have yet to see him in training without a shirt on. And I got to say, it looked like he had a little pooch. Not as big as mine, but looked like he had a little pooch. So if DC comes in under 240, that's going to be a very, very tough fight for Stipe Miocic to win. If DC comes in over 250, I think it's a much harder fight for DC to win. Before I make my prediction, I want to know what DC's weight is right now. Has he had the discipline when it comes to the diet? What's the training looked like? Those kinds of things. I agree that DC should not trade punches so much. Cameron Miller says, I think DC wins. DC is about as cool as a 4th DUI. Oh my goodness. So John Jones. What's up, Marky Rowe in the house? Virtual identical Michael Pauly in the house. Michael Pauly concluding at the end of this, actually starting in, about 10, 15 minutes or so. He's going to be doing a UFC Fight Companion. He's supported me on YouTube and Twitter for a very long time. I can thank basically my entire growth in Twitter to Michael Pauly, which is virtually identical there. Up to over 2,200 viewers. He showed me how to do it. He promoted me. He showed me the fight trains and stuff. So I owe him a lot. The least I can do is pump his stream that's coming up. A live stream of Cage Fury Championship 83, which is coming up on Fight Pass right after this press conference. And he's on here. He can tell us when he... go ahead and feel free to put up a link to your channel, man. I know these guys will show you some love on my channel after y'all done here. Yes, Michael Pauly. And yeah, like I said, thanks again for everything you've done, to help me over there on Twitter and been a part of this community and channel for a very long time. Do you imagine owing Stipe money? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that guy knocks on your door. I never thought of that. But is that guy going to do some acting? Is that going to do some acting after his UFC career's over? I mean, he's got to be able to play he's got to play a bad guy though, right? He's got to play like some kind of like freaking mob boss. Let's hook him up. I mean, I know he looks like the dad with the glasses on. Wearing similar glasses to me. Actually, I got the blue frame. I believe I have that gray frame, something super similar to what he's wearing in those interviews, though. But, yeah, he might look like a dad at home, but he is a killer in the cage. And, yeah, I'd love to see him in some acting, too. They're showing some replays if you're watching on UFC Fight Pass. I imagine you guys can let me know, but it's probably the same thing on YouTube. They just showed the knockout, the first DC fight, the knockout there. Now they're replaying Stipe knocking out DC. I think everybody is getting ready, getting set down at the press conference. So they're just doing like a little pre-hype to hype everybody up. And PBR Street Gang already with the donation. There's the link to Michael Pauly's YouTube channel. You're welcome. You're very welcome, brother. Stipe gonna attack the Brody early in this fight. I don't know, but PBR Street Gang says hi. MMA Mike. Hello, virtually identical. Thank you, PBR. Hi, PBR Street Gang and the friends of Super Chat. Always appreciate the Super Chatters. Imagine DC throwing Stipe. He did. It was in the second fight, wasn't he? When he picked him way up in the air and slammed him. Was that the first fight or the second fight? I'm sure he did it, though. Yeah, I would say he is going to attack the body early. For those that are watching the press conference also over there on Fight Pass, maybe ESPN Plus 2. I'm not sure exactly all where it's on. But here he comes. Daniel Cormier making his way to the table right now. And I want to have an idea what this dude's weighs. He just pulled his mask off. The mask is off. The gloves are off. And here comes Stipe on the other side of the table. Who doesn't love a good fight hype? I mean, these guys have already hyped it up enough themselves, getting the knockouts. And here he comes in the dad outfit. Stipe Miocic, white polo, gray slacks, got the gray glasses on, playing it chill. DC in the, I don't know what you want to call it, the Tupac long sleeve sweater and the gold chain on the outside. And Kevin Iole with the first question of the night. Feel free to respond on anything you guys are seeing. Give me your thoughts on those. What's up, Mo Shams? Thanks for coming in. Stipe, third KO via head kick. Damn. One of the few respectful rivalries. It's been pretty much respectful until the second fight. It got a little more personal. And of course, DC just said it's good to see his face a few days before. The man that beat me, that's all I've been thinking about. And of course, at 41 years old, DC said he would not fight past 40. And I don't think he would have. If he would have beat Stipe the second fight, I completely believe, unless they would have thrown a truckload of money at him to fight, John Jones or Brock Lesnar, I think he would have walked away. But he did not want to walk away with that sour taste in his mouth. He's got one more shot, and he's putting it all on the line in this one. He says, I'm retiring, win or lose. Everything on the line. Career, legacy. This is his wrestling career. This is his Strikeforce championship. The only ever Strikeforce Grand Prix champion walked through Josh Barnett, and this was a close to prime Josh Barnett. This was a much younger Josh Barnett than what we have now. Daniel Cormier walked through him. Walked through everybody in Strikeforce. He undefeated at heavyweight before his last fight against Stipe. Man, DC's 10th title fight in a row. Crazy. Is it 10? Has he had that many? I didn't think he'd had that many. Maybe I'm wrong. That's a lot. And Kevin Iole now talking to Stipe. Says, was that your biggest accomplishment coming back from the loss to Daniel Cormier to come back and win the belt? DC versus Dana White in hip-hop freestyle. I love it. I want to hear some Stipe Miocic rap. You definitely need like a translator, but I like listening to that rap where you can't understand the words anyways. Especially like if I'm working on memorizing something. I'll put on some Spanish or Russian hip-hop in the background. I mean, you can barely understand what the hell Stipe says anyway. So, I mean... Actually, you can hear him fine now. But yeah, I was talking to my wife about this. He talks a little low. He talks a little fast. And the question there is, they're asking Stipe, how do you avoid that slow start? Of course, he had a very slow start, Stipe, the first time. DC came out, set the pace of the fight. Mumble rap Stipe style. I love it. Stipe would serve you papers. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't want that dude knocking on my door to serve me papers. I want him. The only time I want to see Stipe Miocic is when he's signing something like this for me. Stipe, the champ. And no, I'm not giving that away. That's not one of the prizes on Saturday. But what a guy. Sign that for me. DC didn't sign nothing for me. I didn't ask him to either. But shout out. Thank you to Stipe Miocic and his people for getting that to me. And Daniel Cormier talking about fighting Derek Lewis when he had back issues. He's like, I wasn't fighting this guy, but I'll fight like Derek Lewis. That's kind of when the beef really started, because Daniel Cormier, remember, he says, this guy's being entitled, thinks he deserves a rematch right away. There was a different tune from DC. He wasn't saying, hey, I didn't think I could beat Stipe Miocic at that time. Hats off to him for saying it now. But, I mean, This time he says he's in much better shape. He said he still feels like the back was affecting him the first time. I don't know. I don't know about that. DC doesn't get tired. Can beat Miocic. Oh, can beat Miocic? Yeah. He certainly can. Either one of these guys can definitely beat you. Too bad Cutelaba fell off this card. Was going to be good. Oh, I was very disappointed to hear that. And thoughts and prayers to Ian Cutelaba and his family. And also his opponent, Ankalaev. I mean, he's probably going to get show money, so good for him. But, those odds were very close. I think Ankalaev was maybe even a slight favorite. So he misses out on the chance for the win bonus and a performance bonus. So, and these guys, they have a short time. Of course, everybody knows how short the time of an MMA fighter can be. And DC is, it's certainly been longer than usual, than average. Stipe as well. DC just said that if he wins this one, it's going to put him, he said, when I win on Saturday, I'll retire, and I will retire in the conversation with the greatest, including Michael Jordan. That might be a bit much. He doesn't have near the title shots that Stipe had. Of course, it's hard to say Stipe is the better heavyweight if DC wins too. Whoever wins this one, I mean, like I said, you got the bragging rights. You can't avoid it. Oh, and they just asked him what happens if Stipe Miocic wins on Saturday. He said, yeah, it would suck to know that two guys in my career were better than me. Of course, DC, that really stung him. That really stung DC, of course, losing to John Jones the first time and probably more so the second time. Stipe looks like he's ready to go get a Stipe Weiser. He looks bored right now. Stipe replaces Chris Hansen on To Catch a Predator. Oh my goodness, somebody pitch that right now. Right now. Put it on Fight Pass, put it on True TV. I don't give a shit. Oh, yeah, I could imagine the ratings. Gets a knock on the door, and some pervert's waiting for a 15-year-old girl, and 6'3" UFC heavyweight champion Stipe Miocic shows up on the door. Hey, you like little girls? Oh, man, I would love to see that. I'd love to see that. And then maybe add a little something to the show where Stipe gets to, beat their ass afterwards. And DC says he loves giving back and the impact on people. And, man, hard to think of two guys that have given back more to their communities, to society in the UFC than these guys, than a high school wrestling coach and a firefighter. I mean, obviously, when it comes down to predicting who wins the fight, none of that matters, though. None of it matters. The main thing I want to know is not the size of the cage. We know the size of the cage. We've talked about that. I want to know, Daniel Cormier, the question that you don't ask the women, how much do you weigh, Daniel Cormier? I want to hear some guesses. How much do people think that Daniel Cormier weighs? I'm pretty sure Stipe's walking around about a lean, slender 240. I've seen him with the shirt off. I mean, you see him there. You can see he's lean and mean. He's hiding nothing here. How much does DC weigh, though? Mosham says 255. If he weighs 255, here's my prediction. If Daniel Cormier comes in post 255, I am going to guarantee a Stipe Miocic win. Put the money on it. I'll put my money on it. I am guaranteeing a Stipe Miocic win. And if Daniel Cormier comes in post 250. And if I'm wrong, you guys can have to think of something embarrassing for me to do. And I'll either do it here live, online or somewhere around town and have somebody film it. Wow, two guys saying 255. Cormier is hiding his weight in a long sleeve. Yeah, that's kind of what I see. I'm very curious. Is he hiding it though because he's lean and mean and he doesn't want to show anybody? It's very possible. That guy got down to 205 for a long time. He has shown that he can definitely have, that discipline when it comes to his diet and his exercise and his training and everything. I mean, if he can cut down to 205, he can definitely get down under 240, which he said he would be under 240 for this fight. So if he said that he wants to come under 240 and he can't, then I want to know. Then I want to know why. Then I got a question. I want to know why he couldn't make that weight, and that that would be a little bit of a red flag to me. And Stipe Miocic, I've seen DC training in the gym on the other side. Or excuse me, I've seen DC, training in the gym, training with Javier Sanchez. I think it is, his trainers in there inside the octagon, hitting the mitts, doing different things. Stipe, the training I've seen mostly at home. I don't know how much, real sparring, real training he's had. It doesn't sound like, talking to him, that he really has. Damn, no Sean O'Malley, Cheeto Vera at the press conference. I was expecting them to be there because they're the coma. And what's up, Torrin Brown? Hey, good to see you, man. Happy to see you guys in here. That's how I am. But I expected to see Marlon Vera and Sean O'Malley, and I also expected to see JDS and Jairzinho Rozenstruik. I mean, obviously, it's nice to see these guys, and Daniel Cormier says, I'm excited to fight this guy. Stipe Miocic looks like he wants to take a nap. Of course, he does have the nickname Sleepy Stipe. So Stipe says, I'm here to fight. That's what I love to do. And I agree. The nerves in this fight. There's so many things that are going to make this fight different. Of course, the difference of the crowd. If you had an anxiety meter, who do you think anxiety affects more? I have an answer in my mind. I want to hear from you guys first, though. We know how much difference this is without crowds. I think it helped Justin Gaethje tremendously in the Tony Ferguson fight, not having that crowd, not having to worry about that anxiety. And he mentioned it. Several fighters have mentioned how calming it is to just, hear the sound of the punches and the kicks and the sounds. Jon Jones versus Stipe wouldn't even sell. Oh, not even interested in Jon Jones versus Stipe. What? Torrin Brown, what? Jon Jones versus Stipe wouldn't even sell. What? You're crazy, Torrin. I love you, Torrin, but you're crazy. You're crazy. You've been around for a long time in this community. But I gotta say, I disagree with you quite often. But having those contesting voices is what this is about, and it keeps me honest. So I appreciate it. I want to hear Stipe say, Ora Plata 5 times fast. Uma Plata, I think it is, yeah. I don't know how much you would understand of it. Wow, yeah, DC took Anderson Silva on a 2-day notice, talking about that. And so when DC just said, I need 13, 14 weeks, he goes, I can't just make 205 like that anymore. So I'm curious if he says anything about his weight. I mean, this is just me. He's 5'11". To me, he just looking at the shirt, I mean, he's got some baggy clothing on, and he could have put on a couple layers to mess with people. But he looks like he might be post 250. Mike, which one is more interesting? A Jon Jones fight with Francis or a Jon Jones fight with Stipe? The fight with Francis sells more. I mean, like I said, Stipe Miocic's my favorite fighter, but Francis Ngannou, he puts butts in seats. Power puts butts in seats. And that guy, he is like a mythical DC character. I mean, not the Daniel Cormier type, of course, the DC Comics. Stipe Miocic is like a real life superhero. Francis Ngannou looks like an out of this world superhero. Oh, wow. And Stipe Miocic said, since the first fight I ever took in this, I think about my retirement. It's right now, I'm good, I'm happy. Whenever I feel like I can't do this, I'm out. And Stipe said, I don't know about 40. Of course, Stipe Miocic is 38. Daniel Cormier will be 42 years old, I believe, in April. Jon Jones versus local drug task force. I think we've seen that on YouTube. I'd rather watch Francis versus Jones. I mean, I hear you, man. I would love to see either fight. I'd love to see either fight, but Francis versus Jon Jones really, really sells. Especially if Stipe was to beat DC and Francis comes in and hits Stipe with one of those bombs and smashes him like he has with everybody else. I mean, it's going to be gold for pay-per-view numbers for a Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou pay-per-view. And Daniel Cormier says, Cain Velasquez still the strongest man I've ever fought. Strongest fighter. And Daniel Cormier says, I got 3 videos floating around the world right now of me losing, and that's too much already for me. What's everybody drinking tonight? Drinking some Bud Light Seltzer. Call me a pussy. That's fine. I'm gluten intolerant, guys. I don't want to be, I don't want to be crapping my guts out for 3 weeks off all the wheat and gluten, and that's what happens to me now. So the 41-year-old me, I'm on to the seltzer, maybe some wine. Vodka, anything without the gluten. I got to stay away from the pizza. Of course, cauliflower crust pizza, guys. That's the cheat code. That is the cheat code to keto. If you're looking to cut your carbs and go keto, this is the cheat code. We have a place called Mott's Pizza. And it's like a Subway for pizza. It's like Kramer did on Seinfeld when he says, make your own pizza thing. It literally is. You tell them what you want on your pizza, they fucking put it on there. And what I'll get is I'll get the cauliflower crust. You get the white Alfredo sauce, spicy Italian chicken sausage. And then I'll go with the, what is the next one? Ham, the diced ham on it. And then you get the jalapenos and the artichoke hearts and the green olives. And that's just me. And then after, I haven't put garlic with the white sauce on there before you put all this stuff on, the mozzarella. And then when it gets out of the oven, they sprinkle some cold homemade fresh pesto on it. That's the keto hack. Cauliflower pizza with Alfredo sauce. And sorry to go off on a pizza rant in the middle of a fight, but I just felt like that was important for anybody who's doing keto out there. How do they make the crust? I guess out of cauliflower. I don't know. I don't know, man. It looks like a regular pizza. It tastes like a regular pizza. I don't understand it. It's magic. It's voodoo. You know, now that you say that, thanks for raining on my parade, by the way. I'm going to have to grab one of those frozen pizzas at the grocery store because I know they have the ones with the cauliflower crust and see what they're putting in there to make sure we're staying out of the garbage, which is what I've been trying to do. DC was born March 20th, 1979. Stipe is 37. He'll be 38 August 19th. That's right. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know how they make the crust because it's already made by the time I get there. The cauliflower crust, they just pull it out. So I don't know if they're frozen. I don't know what the deal is on that. But and Daniel Cormier says, you know, I looked at what Stipe capitalized in that second fight. I watched the tapes. I felt like it really helped me. And look at this guy. This guy is great. He's got the full suit on, the jacket and everything. And then he's got on the UFC skull cap. That is, hey, if people can wear trucker hats and suits, I guess you can wear a stocking cap and a suit. Aren't I 42? I am not 42. Shut your mouth. I will be 42 next month, but don't make me older before I am. September 15th, 1978. I was born the day that Muhammad Ali became the first three-time boxing champion in history. Hope when DC retires, he joins a Hootie and the Blowfish tribute band. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, that is great. I would pay to watch that. I would pay to watch that. And DC's talking about how he started to feel a lot more love after he fought John Jones. Well, I mean, of course, when you fight the championship in the major leagues, I mean, this is a major league. Strikeforce was awesome. Bellator is awesome. Affliction was awesome. But at the end of the day, you know, I love Bellator. I love all these things. Cage Fighting, Fury Championship, LFA, Legacy Fighting Alliance, Cage Fighting Warriors, Cage Warriors, whatever you want to call it. I like fighting. But when it comes down to it, the UFC is the major leagues. This is the NFL of fighting. And when you become the champion in this league, that's when you get the name. That's when you get the recognition that these guys have. Be right back, and I'll tell you about what I found out. Oh, irregardless, with a secret. All right, I will be staying tuned. I'll be waiting on. I'll extend the stream if I have to. Waiting now. Oh, and Dana White. They just asked Dana White. He says, who's on the Mount Rushmore of MMA? Is one of these guys on the Mount Rushmore of MMA? The winner of this fight? I don't know. Mount Rushmore is a weird comparison because you only got, what is it, four? Four presidents, right? Four faces up there. And Dana White says the winner of this fight, there's no debate, is the greatest heavyweight ever. I think Fedor Emelianenko would have something to say about that. I think Scott Coker would have something to say about that. Anybody that fought Fedor Emelianenko in Pride would have something to say about that. But these guys are definitely there. Alistair Overeem, that's a guy that we talk about. I mean, he's had quite a few losses, but we forget about Strikeforce champion, I believe, right? Dream champion. How many? Like 5 organizations, including UFC Heavyweight Championship. And Daniel Cormier says, I got tired about the 3rd round in the last fight. He says, the easiest path for me is to try to take him down and hold him down. I held him for about 3 minutes in that first fight. And Stipe said, or DC says, I like punching him in the face. I don't know what he's going to do. He's going to have to mix some stuff up. I think DC is going to go a little more wrestling heavy in this fight. What was that about? Can't wait for Dennis Hype Train O'Malley to get wrecked. Oh, and Stipe could join a Huey Lewis in the News tribute band. I like it. I get it. What's up, MMA or Not Us? I just got a commercial that was a literal UFC bout between Ewell and Smith. Really? That is interesting. Like you're going to take like 10 minutes out of your day before watching a live stream that you're getting on to watch an old fight, right? I mean, that's awesome. But, you know, if somebody's trying to watch something live, they're not going to take 10 minutes to go watch a full fight. That's great. Stipe Miocic says he's working on his head movement. Let's talk about the smaller cage a little bit. Stipe Miocic, you know, he was critical about the smaller cage at first. And I think, you know, he just kind of wanted to bring a little hype to it. I'm not so sure he's real worried about the smaller cage. It has seemed, you know, it has seemed to be advantageous for wrestlers. And DC just looked at Stipe Miocic and said, when you make an adjustment like you did last time, that works once. He goes, then I adjusted that. He said, I adjusted. DC just looked at Stipe Miocic, said, I adjusted to that body shot. And he said, he goes, he goes, I'm, you know, he said about those body shots, DC says, I've been working on something to counter that. We will see. I think DC doesn't want to see those body shots. You know, that's hard to say. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't want to see those body shots. But talking about that small cage, everybody thinks it's going to be advantageous for Daniel Cormier. Stipe Miocic says he's been working on the small cage and working on things like that. Another thing that happens in small cages is brawls. Right in front of each other. We've seen guys use their reach. It could definitely get done. You know, we've seen Kevin Holland you know, smoke his opponent on the end of that punch with his reach. So it's not like it's not like the cage is as short as your arm. That reach can still be used, and those eye pokes can still be used. But it might be when they're standing in there, Stipe Miocic might be easier to take down in a small cage. Daniel Cormier is going to be more hittable in a small cage, and I guarantee you that. There's nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. And there's going to be times in that fight, again, whether DC wants it or not, because Stipe has great takedown defense, whether DC wants it or not, there is going to be times in that fight where they're going to get in firefights. And who's been in the most firefights? Obviously, DC's got the power. He's knocked Stipe Miocic out once. Obviously, Stipe Miocic's got the power. He's got a ton of knockouts in his career, including the last one over DC. Arcade Chaos in the house. What's up? All DC has to do is adjust to the body shots. Stipe didn't look great in that fight before he landed those body shots in the fourth round. He was definitely losing that fight, in my opinion. So, if Stipe comes in the exact same Stipe, and he hasn't adjusted to anything, I agree. He looks very good. He looks in the best shape of his life. I don't know that he has been around a lot of training partners and things, though. So that I don't know. And there's another thing. They're going to be able to hear their own coaches. And DC says if you want to listen to anybody, listen to Dominic Cruz. So listen to the commentators too. Gotcha, Mike. The cauliflower option is excellent for keto. Only 3 grams of net per carbs per cup of cauliflower. Thank you, irregardless. That is good to know. eBay Miocic. Don't look like he's a heavy hitter, but punches pretty hard. eBay Miocic, huh? Stipe's face looks lean for a heavyweight. He does. He does. I mean, he's a lot taller. He's what, 6'3"? I want to say he's 6'3", 6'3", 6'4". And I mean, he only walks, I mean, I think he pretty much doesn't walk around really north of 250. And he's been walking around seemingly at 240 through this whole thing, if not under. You know, right around 240. And Daniel Cormier, here he is talking. He's talking about how, you know, how it helps watching the tape. And he watched the first, you know, coming into the first fight, he watched how Stipe comes out of the clinch. And that fighting as a commentator has helped him. But remember, like we said, Daniel Cormier is almost 41 years old. 41, as he said just a few years ago, he could work down and could make the 205. And he just said, as of a couple of years ago, he can't make that 205 anymore. He's lost the step. When he was 37, he could make 205. Stipe Miocic's 37. And Stipe Miocic, I mean, for his height and his body style and everything, to me, he's the equivalent of 205. He's about as low as he should ever go. He looks at optimal weight. Thank you, Torrance. 6'4". I thought he was like 6'3" or 6'4". And has more college credits. Who has more college credits? Oh, it reminds me of Huey on strict workout regimen. I gotcha. And the question to Dana White, what is your question of these guys coming out, these two fighters? Says, just like the fans. And I agree, Dana. Say whatever you want about Dana. He is a big fight fan. He couldn't fake the enthusiasm over all these years for something like this. And I think he is just excited, as I am, as hopefully most of you guys are, for this fight. Francis is kind of small. Francis, I think, has been coming in around, is it coming in to around 250-ish, though? In the 250s. He's pretty tall, though. What is Francis, 6'3"? DC saying Stipe go first. And Stipe says, all I care about is getting that W, getting that belt. And they said, is it more important for the belt or the legacy? Oh, and Daniel Cormier says, I've never touched that belt that Stipe holds over there. Daniel Cormier, that new belt. Remember, they changed that in between. He doesn't have any of those in his house. Stipe has something on his table that Daniel Cormier has never put his hands on in any weight class. Has never owned in any weight class. And they're asking these guys who should be next in line for the winner of this. Of course, Daniel Cormier, if he retires, doesn't really matter. Stipe says, I'm not a matchmaker, talk to the boss. Smart. He's not thinking about anybody with Daniel Cormier. And obviously Daniel Cormier is not thinking about anybody with Stipe Miocic. These guys don't care. Do you think Stipe retires if he wins? Or if he loses? If he loses? I don't know. No idea. No idea. I guess it'd probably depend on how he lost and what the offers from the UFC are afterwards. I know he likes being champ. I don't know that he would like to leave without it. I think he still might want that rematch of Francis. Prove he can take that from Francis. Maybe he still fights Francis for the vacant belt. And I mean, we have a situation here where the loser of this fight could be fighting for the interim championship in the next fight. Because you got Francis Ngannou, number one contender. I don't think anybody has any argument with that. And then who would his mandatory challenger be? Stipe Miocic's got a victory against him, and I can't see anybody else being thrown in there. I think win or lose, Stipe Miocic's next fight is most likely against Francis Ngannou. If DC beats Stipe, he should fight John Jones one more time before he retires. I guess it depends on how big a truck of cash the UFC pulls up with for that fight. And they're talking about the size of the cage right now. What's going to happen? DC says, I fought Josh Barnett. He said he fought all his Strikeforce fights in that cage. He says he doesn't think it's much of a difference. I think it's built up to be a little bit more of a thing than it is. But I do think it can be an advantage to a wrestler. But like I said, once you're standing, your opponent's closer to you. Mathematics. There's mathematics. There's less feet for you to separate yourself from your opponent. And what we've seen in this cage is a lot of fights with two guys not taking a step forward and just banging for the whole time. We've seen, I believe, some of the best fights in at least, the last decade inside this cage. And now we get to hear the sound of these punches and kicks when Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier blast those shots. And that is exciting. That is exciting. Stipe and Miocic, Michael Bisping look alike. I don't know about that. I hadn't really thought about that. Stipe loses and become the manager of a Cinnabon in Omaha. Wow, and I think he'll go back to being a firefighter. And he's got a pension over that. I think Stipe Miocic's going to be just fine, bro. But, that's funny. And Daniel Cormier says, you got to be comfortable with walking away the best in the world, or eventually you end up on the prelims. And I wonder if that's a little shot to Chris Weidman. Of course, he's not been on the prelims yet. But there was a main guy that was on the prelims not that long ago. Of course, Anderson Silva, that's a major example of a guy who was, champion, the guy. He was the guy, the man. And now we see him, fighting against guys that, they're not the guy. Guys that are good, Jared, he's lost to some guys that are good, Jared Cannonier, but, he had the issue with the leg again. It was a fun fight to watch, but not super competitive against Israel Adesanya. Not real competitive against Daniel Cormier, even though he landed a couple shots and it was a short notice fight. 45 years old, what are you going to do? But there you have it. Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. Anybody want to talk about any of the other fights that are on here while we're on there? Weidman has ever been on the prelims his whole MMA career. No, I don't know. I don't think he has either. And he was on the main. Who was just on the prelims that has really fallen a long ways? It was the last prelims. Oh, and by the way, for those that haven't seen, I did want to talk about some UFC cuts. Oh, and Dana's still there, and they're going to have the stare down here. We'll see if we can see. There's the handshake, and here is the stare down. And he fists the cuffs, and he funky bunch. DC looks big. DC, to me, he looks like, if he is 240, I would say very high 240. Unless he's wearing 3 layers of clothes, I would say he looks post 250. You guys let me know what you think. Stipe looks extremely lean. He looks like he might be under 240. He's got to be like right there. Of course, the weigh-ins are tomorrow at 9 a.m. So that's going to be interesting. Cheeto has no chin. Let's talk about Sean O'Malley. Cheeto, what's up? Snake Plissken in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Stipe takes Drew's spot as host of The Price is Right. Could you imagine that? The guy gets up there, I want you to, guess the price. Whoever's closest to this price. But you got Stipe Miocic coming up there. Once you guess the price, you never understand a damn word he says. And like I said, love the Stipe. Love the Stipe, but especially his post-fight interviews. A lot of times, you borderline need a translator. Exactly. Tough fight. How about that? Jairzinho. Yo, could JDS win? I need sleepers for DraftKings. What's up, Trevi McTrev? Yes, sleepers for DraftKings. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik is most likely overrated. He's one of those guys I'm kind of on the fence with. He fought a lot of old dudes that are real chinny. To me, he really hasn't had that breakthrough performance that makes me want to say this guy's championship material. He was losing that fight to Alistair Overeem. I feel like he did lose that fight to Alistair Overeem. I mean, he ripped Overeem's lip open, and they stopped it with what? I don't remember how many seconds left it was, but I'm pretty damn sure it was less than 20 seconds. And how you stop a 5-round fight from one punch with a lip cut with 15 seconds left, that's a tough one, especially as many fights as I've seen go on, I believe, way, way longer than what they should have. That's a pretty tough one for me. That's a hard pill to swallow. What's up, J Dick 1982? Stipe looked small. DC looks fat, says David Kell when they stood up. Yeah, you can usually hide your gut when you're standing up. I mean, I got a gut, and I can kind of suck it in when I'm standing up and things. Something I noticed, and I seen Stipe Miocic during, some of the pre-fight stuff during this week. When you sit down, you guys know, as men, you have your shirt off and you sit down. There's no lying anymore. When you sit down and you have a gut, you cannot look like a guy that does not have a gut. You cannot fake a six-pack when you're sitting down. I'm not saying you can fake a six-pack when you're standing up, but you can suck it in. You can push your chest out. You can do a lot of things, to kind of make yourself look like you're in a little better shape. You're not as fat as you are. And, sometimes maybe we look in the mirror in the morning and we do that to feel better about ourselves. And maybe maybe because we see that, we have that extra whopper that holds us back. I don't know. But when you sit down and you don't have a shirt on, you can't hide that gut. And Stipe Miocic looks like a professional athlete, like I believe should, when he sits down right now, when he's at poolside. Rooting for O'Malley, though. I really like O'Malley. I really, really like him. And I'm not saying he's not going to win. I just thought those odds were a little steep. I thought they were kind of counting Marlon Vera out. And I'm not even saying I'm favoring Marlon Vera, but I certainly don't count him out. Used to be Shauna O'Malley. What? He's trying to start rumors over here, Infinite. What? It's like, J-Tig, what's up, buddy? It's going to be a wrestling match if DC can get Stipe down. But like I said, inside that small octagon, which both these guys have fought, yes, it's been shown that there can be an advantage for wrestling and grapplers. But it's also been shown, like I said, mathematics, guys. Mathematics, it's a smaller cage. You're going to get some exchanges. You don't have as far to run away from your opponent. It is harder to get away from your opponent than in that big cage. And DC, he's going to end up in exchanges with Daniel Cormier, especially later in the fight, Because, like he said in the press conference, that style, taking Stipe down, laying on him, holding him down, Stipe has a great takedown defense. He's pretty good at popping back up, too. It's not like he didn't have his own wrestling career. That takes a lot of energy. And then once you get to round 4 and 5 again, I think Stipe Miocic maybe starts to get a bit of an advantage. I don't see him gassing. I think Sugar may lose this one, says J Dig. People are kind of split on this one. I mean, I thought the odds should have been much closer for where Sean O'Malley is in his career. He's 26 years old. So in 26 years old, he sat, a year and a half, 2 years, something like that. He's very young in the game. Marlon Vera, I mean, he's a veteran with power, a lot of experience, and a lot of stuff he can do in that cage. If anything, I think it's Sean O'Malley's biggest test to date by far. O'Malley is going for cringe king right now, though, with Henry retired. Yeah, I really liked O'Malley at first, and I'm not saying I don't like him now, but the way he has hyped himself recently does kind of seem a bit egotistical. He kind of comes into the room and says, look at me, I'm Sean O'Malley. Aren't I cool? Look at my clothes, look at my hair, look at my stream. And he comes off, to me, not as likable as he was before. Now, I get you got to put asses in the seat, and he's got that Twitch career. I have no doubt he's making a lot more money than I am. Streaming online, reacting to his own fights, playing video games, doing things like that. He's maxing out that name recognition. His hair is cringe. That's what I thought, man. When you put it all together, it just does not look good to me. My wife's a hairdresser. She was looking at that, and it's like when they're separating it all, it's like, okay, he's got 3 different colors of hair right now, and then you put it all together, and it's like, you kind of look like, the dude that's the homeless guy down at the bus stop or semi, close to homeless guy that showers maybe once a week and is not really sure what's going on. He's starting to kind of look and sound a little bit like that. I'm not trying to be a hater here, but yeah, I'm also not a fan of the face tattoo. Look in the mirror and see my ear hair, and a cold chill rides my spine. Infinite wisdom, I hear you, brother. Cheeto has poor technique, says Chris Jackson. And one thing Sean O'Malley has is great technique, especially in striking. I mean, he has pinpoint accuracy, and something they used to talk about back in the day. For those of you, I know this is maybe not even anybody in the stream, but back in Tuesday Night Fights, there's a commentator named Sean O'Grady. He really shaped a lot of how I look at fighting and my growing up watching fighting. And he used to say, power is king, but speed beats power. And speed also creates power. Sean O'Malley has the kind of speed that creates power. And then I look to something Conor McGregor says, and however you feel about Conor McGregor, one thing he says I believe is true. Perfect precision beats power. When power it has perfect precision. It's something like that. I can't remember exactly, but that precision, I mean, it's excuse me, a little itch there. It's something that a lot of guys have, and they can just hit. I admire guys so much that can just be like, boom, chin, temple, chin, temple, temple. I mean, just hitting those sweet spots, and they'll land like a 4 or 5 hit combination, and they're hitting all buttons. Everybody, you guys know where the buttons are. Your sides of the chin. Right here, part like on the dimple, and then around those temples. You would land it anywhere in this area, I mean, you're doing pretty well. Especially you get the right angle, a counter shot, you know, a hard shot. You put a lot of guys down. Farah's getting cringingly KO'd though. What's up, Trev Mitrev? I like it. O'Malley 69. This is spontaneous. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that with the new face tattoos there. Nobody looks good with face tattoos except for maybe Mike Tyson. And my wife was just talking about this. She's like, Mike Tyson got a face tattoo. She goes, I never seen anybody with a face tattoo before that. Now I see people with tattoos on their face and on their head. She's like, what's going on? These people look like idiots. And a lot of people thought Tyson looked like an idiot even at the time. I wasn't so sure about it. Now he's kind of become kind of known for him. It's kind of the persona. But kids, if I could give you any piece of advice today, don't put tattoos on your face. It's unbecoming. And good luck getting a job. Maui's 25, be 26 in October. Thank you, Torrin Brown. You have to be kind of, don't you? It's this kind of business. And that's true. O'Malley better leave Cody alone. Cody's got that smash power. But O'Malley's got that precision. And Cody has shown, you know, that chin could be susceptible. So, I don't know, man. Cody Garbrandt, of course, just dropped to 125, though. O'Malley's not dropping there anytime soon. So, I don't know if that fight would happen anyways. Cejudo will fight one more time. I think he'll fight at least one more time. Henry Cejudo is not retired. He's just in relaxation mode. Maui 3Y9. I like it. Only a few more hours until EAUFC 4. Oh! You are correct, my friend. We're like 6 hours away, aren't we? I have still not even played the beta, guys. And I got to work early. God, I would love to stream it all night. I'm going to get some video up of it and some streaming for sure. I got my PlayStation webcam sitting right next to my other webcam up here. So when the PS4, I can grab it from downstairs and plug it in quickly. Chris Weidman should be a real G and step in to fight Uriah Hall. Chris Jackson, are you breaking some news I didn't know about? What happened to Yoel Romero? Is Yoel Romero out? J-Dig says, pulling for Cheeto. Gucci Man has big ice cream cones with lightning bolts coming out of his cheeks. Trev looks ridiculous. Oh, and that's got to be the first pin message of the night. Snake Plissken. I want to get a face tattoo. Unemployable in old English text across my forehead. Infinite wisdom. If you go to the shop and order the tattoo, we will put together like a GoFundMe or a Patreon or something to make sure that you don't have to pay for that, sir. We got your back. Oh, my goodness. If anything, O'Malley should move up, not go down to flyweight. I agree, Torrin. He's not going down to flyweight. Has he even mentioned going down to flyweight? I haven't played yet, says Snake. No, I haven't played yet either. I need to, though. I pre-ordered. I pre-ordered EA UFC 4. For those that are looking to get a 6-hour preview, if you sign up for a free 7-day trial of EA UFC Access, you can get warmed up before the game breaks out at midnight. So if you want to know a little bit of what you're doing before you jump online with people, that is available. Unknown, yeah, Yoel's out. Unknown injuries. He pulled out a day or two ago. Unknown injuries. So I've heard this before. And then a lot of times, and I'm not accusing anyone, but then a lot of times 9 months, even a year later, you'll come out, so-and-so just served their suspension for, being positive for such and such that was found in a tainted supplement or not. And, of course, Yoel's been down that road before. Sued Six Star Performance and made a killing. I don't know if Six Star Performance, I don't know if he's ever going to see that money, but he'll definitely get some of it. TRT, says Trevi. I don't know. Dana used to fight in MMA as a lightweight. Dana White used to fight in MMA as a lightweight? I know I fought boxing. I did not know Dana White had an MMA record. You know, I usually try not to doubt you, Tom Brown. You're usually right. I just hadn't heard that. I hadn't heard that. I'm going to Dana White's Sherdog page. Because I didn't even know he had one. Is there any recorded fight of Dana White? No recorded fight of any of Dana White ever participating in an organized boxing match. That's what Sherdog says. I really didn't think he had ever had an MMA fight. But maybe. If Gold Pop, that would and wouldn't be surprising. If you, Yoel, yeah, I hear you, man. I mean, I love Yoel Romero, but as you get older, it gets a lot harder to look like that. And he's older than me. And I don't know if there's anything I could do on the legal side of things to look at, 10% of that. No, he didn't. MMA record is 45-4. Oh, you talking about on the video game or something, Torrin Brown? Torrin's fucking with us. Infinite, you are right. He does. Poor UL is so messed up. He turns like Batman. Yeah, he does. He doesn't have much of a neck. There's like so many muscles stacked up to his head. It's like, where'd your neck go? It's like he's walking around like this. Yeah. Gotta love UL, though. Gotta love UL. Man, we are 48 hours. We're 48 hours, 39 minutes away from UFC 252. And I am so excited. Like I said, I think JDS has a great chance of upsetting Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And those odds have moved in a little bit. I'm not the only one that's thinking that. And then, the odds are moving in like we talked about for Sean O'Malley and Marlon Vera. Look at my neck, boy. Danny used to be a lieutenant in the Salvation Army. Oh my God, that is the comment of the month, dude. Dana White used to be a lieutenant in the Salvation Army. That is incredible. I want that on a t-shirt. On a Joe Rogan podcast, he said sugar is what they used to, to stay bulk. I've definitely heard that. In the short time when I had a personal trainer for a while, he was saying, if you're gonna have some carbs, because at the time, I loved Mountain Dew. And he's like, man, at the end of a very hard, a hard weightlifting workout, warm up with some cardios, but I want to hit the weights big time. We're talking about a big weightlifting workout, hour and a half, 2 hours, long, heavy weightlifting workout. He's like, hit that 50, 60 grams of protein, 100 grams of protein, whatever. He's like, and then it's fine right then. He's like, if you're going to have carbs for the day, he's like, take 50, 60 grams of carbs with it. He's like, it's not my favorite recommendation, but he's like, you want to chug a liter of Mountain Dew? He's like, that's the time to do it. If you're going to do it, because that sugar helps the protein synthesize into the muscles. And for those of you guys that have ever worked out and then afterwards drink some sugar, especially when you're really lean, if you drink sugar and you've had protein, your veins will start to pop out. Your muscles will look a lot more defined. There definitely is something to that. And if you're just looking to pop on weigh-in day and on the day of the fight and look a certain way like a bodybuilder, I mean, there's a lot of secrets. Dana hated register number 3. I like it. Only one fight I care about on UFC 250 card. And that is Sean O'Malley versus Vera. Yes, and early. What's up, Rebel? What's up? And I got to bring up the whole main card, though, coming up for UFC 252. Thanks for tuning into this. Thanks for you guys who tuned in for Dana White Contender Series as well. Great turnout for that. Some of the it was one of the most viewed streams I've had outside of pay-per-view in a very, very long time. Outside of pay-per-view, and amazingly enough, Bellator, and about tied with Bellator. It doubled some of my UFC Fight Night streams, though. So thank you for showing up for that. August 15th, though. Stipe Miocic, Daniel Cormier. Like I said, 2 days away. I'm going to go through this. Herbert Burns and Daniel Pineda. I'm a little miffed as to having that as the main event. But I get you throwing some money out there on DC and Stipe. You know, you're spending a lot. You don't have the crowd. So, I mean, I guess I kind of understand it. And then Jaw Dodson versus Merab Vilashvili. Does anybody in here pick John Dodson over Vilashvili? I think Vilashvili's going to kill him. I love John Dodson back in the day. Really good fighter. Has a ton of power. But, man, Vilashvili is a killer. I was joking. Dana White never fought MMA. I figured when you said 50, when you said 55-4, I knew you were messing with me. My man, Mike. What's up, Rebel? Good to see you, sir. Oh, dude, does anyone have Cheeto winning? I do. I definitely have him having a very good chance. Much better than the odds makers. Here after Daniel Cormier is going to try and become Mr. Olympia. Oh, that's great. Cheeto, Frito, or Doritos. Someone's got to derail the Rainbow Express. We need Dodson Dillashaw too. We may see that. Who's Dillashaw going to fight when he comes back? I mean, is he going to jump in? 6 months ago, everybody would have said he's going to come right in and walk right into a title shot. Now you have Peter Yan. And I'll tell you what, you put Sean O'Malley against Peter Yan, I give Sean O'Malley little chance. Peter Yan impressed the shit out of me in his last few fights. And I cannot get over that ground and pound. The leverage that he gets on those shots in his ground and pound, best pound for pound ground and pounder. Best ground pound for pound, I guess, would be the name ever, in my opinion. I've never seen anybody that light hit that hard in the ground and pound. It's chilling. I got Cheeto. I don't fall for hype trains. That's Torrin Brown. I'm also leaning towards Cheeto, but I do think Sean O'Malley is a good fighter. I just think he needs bigger tests, and I think Marlon Vera's faced more of those. If he walks through Cheeto, he's the real deal. That's what I say, J-Dog. That's what I said about Israel Adesanya. I thought it was too early when he took the fight against Brad Tavares. And then he beat Brad Tavares, very easily, dominated him. I was like, okay, this kid's definitely got something. Okay, now he's jumping right up against Derek Brunson. Brunson, he wasn't coming off all the losses. Of course, he just had a great win against Edmund Shabazian. But I'm thinking, man, this guy's got really good wrestling. He's way stockier than Adesanya. Seems like he should be way stronger. And after the way I seen Adesanya take out Derek Brunson so quickly, that's when I was like, okay, this kid's for real. If Sean O'Malley takes out Marlon Vera in a destructive fashion, I will jump on the Sean O'Malley hype train. I will say he is for real. But until then, yeah, still a hype train. Especially hype train with Maltese Terriers. Dodson is too low ranked at bantamweight. Or possibly not even ranked. I doubt Dillashaw fights Dodson. Doesn't make sense for him. I 100% agree with you. Torrin Brown. He could come back and fight Sean O'Malley. He could come back and fight Peter Yan. I don't know if anybody at 135 is going to beat Peter Yan. That guy is a killer. He might be the next, the next generation. As a tune-up fight, Dillashaw can avenge the loss, and Dodson can get some clout by beating a former champion. I mean, that is true. You can sell it as a tune-up fight coming in. I don't know if they're going to give TJ Dillashaw a fight with a guy that low ranked coming back from his suspension. I mean, he's up there in the pay grade. You got to remember, he's still on that contract. He's still getting, 6 figures a fight, well into the 6 figures, and former champion. Your pay grade goes up once you've been a champion. TJ Dillashaw can fight Cruz again when he returns. I like that fight. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all. I'm going to go to the updated odds over on DraftKings. I want to see where the odds are for these fights, guys. And by the way, for anybody who's watching in the background on UFC Fight Pass, there is Cage Fury Fighting Championships. And I just have it as kind of background noise sitting here and watching it in front of me. Just watched a great knockout over there. So UFC 252 odds. And I forgot to go into the prelims completely, didn't I? Jim Miller's taking on Vink Pichel. Merab Valshvili is a minus 240 favorite over John Dodson. Herbert Burns, minus 286 favorite over Daniel Pineda. I don't know about that. I kind of like Daniel Pineda. I mean, he's a scrappy young guy. And here we go. The first turn I've seen in a while towards somebody being a favorite. Daniel Cormier has moved ahead as a slight favorite, a minus 115 to minus 104 for Stipe Miocic. So for every $115 you put down for Daniel Cormier, that's a win. For every $104 for Stipe Miocic you put down, that's $100. Dillashaw and Cruz last fight was 4 years ago, January 16th. I believe Dillashaw beats him now. Cruz has had a lot of injuries, but TJ Dillashaw, he's been out for quite some time. O'Malley, big favorite against Marlon Chito Vera, minus 286. Marlon Vera, you can pick up $225 for every $100 you put on Marlon Vera. That might be a good bet. It's not an official recommendation from me, but I think those odds are a little high. Junior Dos Santos, a lot of money's been coming in on him. Rosenstruck, I believe, was about a 2-1 favorite when the odds came out. Rosenstruck now just a minus 135. Dos Santos sitting on plus 110. So almost even odds. If you want to bet on Dos Santos, put down for every $110, or excuse me, for every $100 you put down, you'll get 110 back. If you want to put down on Jairzinho, for every 135 you put down, you'll get 100. And then Jim Miller versus Vink Pichel. I don't know a lot about this Pichel guy, but he is a slight favorite against an aging Jim Miller. Miller a plus 105. Vink Pichel a minus 130. Felice Herrig coming in a huge underdog in this against Virna Jandiroba. Don't waste your money. I think Virna kills her. Minus 315 favorite. One of the biggest favorites on the card. Felice Herrig coming in at plus 240. Ashley Yoder. Could be some money there. She's a plus 130 underdog. Very close against Livia Renata Souza. A minus 162. I got to lean towards Sosa, though. on that one. And like I said, I think in my mind, if DC comes in post 250, I put money on Stipe. I think the scale uh, tips towards Stipe with DC's weight. And I think it also shows if he comes in post 250, I think it also shows he had issues pulling off weight. And maybe he's age, maybe that age is catching up to him. Oh my goodness, Archangel Azrael. $25 donation. Thank you very much, sir. Great to see you, Archangel, bringing the bucks. Appreciate all you guys with the super chats. That is very generous of you. Cheetah reminds me of the guy that stabbed me in Chino. Oh, shit. Juice. Oh, man, sorry about that. Dillashaw coming back sometime in 2021, I believe. I believe the beginning of 2021. I was just looking at that. Let me give you a date real quick when he comes back. Unless somebody else already knows. I'm pretty sure it's fairly early in 2021, though. Yeah, it's a 2-year suspension. He got it, I believe, in January of 2019. I'm pretty sure he's back. Yeah, January 19th. It'll be predated to January 19th. That's when he lost to Henry Cejudo. Believe it or not, that fight's been almost 2 years. He provided that sample on January 18th, lost to Cejudo on January 19th. So we're less than 5 months away from TJ Dillashaw being eligible to fight in the UFC. Archangel kind words says you deserve it, man. Well, thank you very much. J Dig 1982 DC says he's walking around at 240. When did he say that? I know he said he wanted to be walking around at 240. And I don't know if maybe he was wearing some baggy clothes, because he definitely could have been. Because he looks like he was carrying a little bit extra in the upper body, but that could have been layers. Because one thing you'll look for in bigger guys, and I got a little bit sometimes, is, that fat around the chin. And I did not see that. I didn't see the double chin on DC. I seen a little bit, stuff that could have been padded by extra layers. So is he playing everyone for a fool? I don't know. Spontaneous says, Azrael, good dude, in his bra. Why don't you think Azrael deserves a wrench for the donation? Oh, he should have a wrench. If he wants a wrench, he should definitely have a wrench. And I haven't made a new moderator in a while. We've had quite a few, but yeah, Archangel's in here a lot. Why is it not allowing me to... There we go. For sure. Bam. Archangel Azrael says, I got DC. It's very tough for me to pick. And I got to say, if I had to bet, I would lean towards DC. If DC comes in the early 240s or below. If DC comes in post 250, I think that night becomes very hard for DC, especially once you get past the third round. Man, these years go by fast. Doesn't even seem like it's about 2 years to be 2 years since Dillashaw been out. 2020 went by fast as heck. That's true. Infinite Wisdom says, can get a ratchet. Can you get a ratchet? What's a ratchet? No, I'm just kidding. You've been around a little bit of time. We'll see. Maybe for tomorrow's pay-per-view, we'll announce another moderator, because we have some guys that are no longer around, or in on the stream very very briefly compared to some of you guys that are here like basically every week. I think Stipe gets him with body shots again. Body and shot and DC's weakness. Jones did it, but with kicks. It opens him up for a big headshot. That's true, Damon Stout. And you notice DC was looking at Stipe. He was trying to get him to show something. He goes, but I think there was a little bit more to it. I think it was a little bit of 3D chess going on. And I don't think Stipe was falling for it. He goes, I know Stipe thinks he's going to get me with those body shots again, and I've been working on it. And he looks at him and he says, look, Stipe can't keep a secret. He smirks, and he looks at him, and Stipe smirks back at him. And I think it's a little deeper than that. Maybe he has kind of worked on some counters, but I think DC would rather let him think that he has worked on the counters and hope that he doesn't go to that body, because I believe it is a weakness. Hell yeah, new bed, but I'm going for DC. I don't think Stipe is as great as they all say. It's hard. All of a sudden, a lot of times he never looks great, and then he just pulls something out. And he's had some fights that were quick. He definitely did not look great in that last fight against DC until that fourth round. And that was a lot of it was DC tiring himself out. So, I mean, that is hard to argue. Yes, tomorrow is weigh-ins. You are correct. 9 a.m. 9 a.m., I believe. Haha, Stipe has the best boxing at heavyweight. He's light on his feet if he gets his legs working. That backing up right hand when he was fighting Fabricio Verdum was beautiful, though, where he makes Fabricio Verdum chase him, and he throws that right hand downwards and cracks him right on the chin. That is one of the most beautiful knockouts I have seen at heavyweight. Screwdriver with a booger. I like it. I like it, Infinite Wisdom. We'll talk tomorrow. Maybe we'll get another ring shot tomorrow, I said. Tomorrow's one championship and Fighting Alliance. Yeah, there's a lot going on. There's boxing, I think, going on tomorrow, too. I'm like, man, can you guys stop putting everything all on one weekend? What happened to Francisco Rivera? I don't know. He's out. I know what happened to Ion Cutelaba. Of course, he tested positive for the Khabib Ferguson virus. And he's not fighting. That was a big loss to that main event. And maybe that's why it looks a little shallow to me, because that was a pretty solid fight that main card lost there. I wish they would have been able to fill it in with something bigger, but I know it's pretty short notice. Ali versus Frazier. They almost killed each other. You can't underestimate this. Yep, you are right. In the Thrill in Manila, Ali and Frazier almost died in the ring. It's like that big of a fight. I agree with you, Archangel. And I was saying earlier in the stream, I was saying I've had like the Rocky theme for some reason in my head all the time. I'm just walking around going, da-dun-dun, da-dun-dun. Because, yeah, it feels like that real life Rocky and Apollo. Or we can go back to, like I said, that Muhammad Ali versus Joe Frazier trilogy. And unfortunately, I mean, those are probably the fights that gave Muhammad Ali his Parkinson's. That and a lot of practicing for rope-a-dope against George Foreman. That wasn't probably the smartest thing in sparring. But I can't moderate, Mike. I was raised by carnies. All right, man. Oh, that is hilarious. Were you raised by carnies? I'm jealous. I'm so jealous. That seems like such a great childhood. You have so many stories, so many scars, so many emotional scars. Been waiting to rewatch Rocky and Thrill Manila. Oh, gee, Mike, you are right. You are right. I might watch Rocky tonight. I might try to get the kids together and watch that. And, you know, everybody, we're talking about a huge trilogy. It could be boxing. It could be MMA. Of course, boxing's got a lot longer history. But let me know, guys, what's your favorite trilogy? And we can go through and talk about some of the great trilogies we've had in combat sports. Francisco, last night was July 30th, 2016. On the UFC, man, that's a long layoff. 4 years. Damn. Haven't seen Eric Perez in a while either. I refuse to adapt. I'm a boomer by choice now. I like it, Archangel. Hey, I am right there with you. I'm getting there too, man. I'll listen to some new music every once in a while, but yeah. Pretty damn much. Favorite trilogy? Either one, boxing or MMA. It can be either one. I can run the Gravitron, but not YouTube guidelines. That is incredible. I remember, speaking of the Gravitron, I remember taking my little brother, he really is my little brother, because his birthday is 9 years after mine. We're 9 years apart. We're actually technically 9 years short of 9 years apart because he was born on September 6th. And I took him on the Gravitron, and God, he must have been like 4 or 5 years old. I was such an asshole. Whatever it was, I don't think he was tall enough to ride the ride. And I took him on there, and it traumatized that poor kid. I mean, I think I gave him PTSD. Probably still what's wrong with him. But oh yeah, rewatch you commentate the first DC versus Stipe fight the other day. I seen you posted that that time tag. Thank you, Archangel. Because I didn't even remember where the time tag is. I should put that in the timer. I want to put together a little short clip thing, you know, when I have the 5-minute timer, everybody's coming in. So make sure and come in for that 5-minute timer. I'll throw a few things in there. For trilogies in MMA, Sam Stout and Spencer Fisher. They fought 3 times. Very good. Very good. Very underrated. Both those guys very underrated, too. I was just talking about Sam Stout the other day because one of the guys on Contender Series had a victory against him. But it was like 10 years ago. It was that kid who... not kid now, he's in his 30s, but the guy that popped his rib out. I can't think of his name. You know, he was not favored anyways, but popped his rib out. Yeah, he had fought Sam Stout years ago, and then rumor is that I think that Spencer's talking about a comeback. But yeah, both those guys were a lot of fun to watch. For trilogies, and they fought 3 times. Second favorite, Donald Cerrone versus Ben. That's a great one. Boxing, Eric Morales versus Marco Antonio Barrera. Anybody who hasn't watched Eric Morales versus Marco Antonio Barrera, yeah, go and watch that trilogy fight. Do yourself a favor. That was incredible. There, like I always say, I think we're in the golden age of MMA right now. that was the golden age of boxing, and that was one of the greatest things to happen during that entire era, in my opinion. It was ahead of its time, the streaming commentator, a moderator solution for a modern world. Well, thank you, Archangel. Vanderlei Silva versus Rampage Jackson. Man, didn't that change the way that we thought about soccer kicks and knees to the head in a match? Because those fights were so different when they fought in Pride, and then they fought in UFC, and then they fought their fourth fight in Bellator, I believe. I believe Vanderlei won both fights in Pride, if I remember right. Rampage knocked him out in the UFC, and then I believe beat him in Bellator. Did Fedor and Crow Cop have a trilogy? I think they just fought twice. But yeah, there's some great fights if you count his brother. Yeah, I believe Fedor's brother's in jail for like murder or something, right? Dana White versus Scott Coker. Oh Jesus. Who would win? I got Scott on that one. Oh, well, actually, Scott might be quite a bit older than Dana, so let me take that back. I see the ages on these two. And Dana's TRT game is got to be hard to beat. His TRT game is next level. Phil Tim Allen. Nice. Other favorite trilogy in MMA: John Jones versus DC. Yep, Dominic Cruz versus Uriah. Cody versus TJ. A lot of good ones. Floyd Mayweather versus Phonics. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I remember him and 50 Cent had that thing going back and forth about who was the most illiterate, basically. But hey, they make the money. I guess you don't have to. I guess you don't have to be a scholar to make the money in sports. But I think one of the most underrated trilogies that was Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe. I mean, that thing was so great and it had everything, and then capped off by, a pop culture moment with the fan man coming in the middle of the ring. I mean, how crazy was that? And I remember I'm watching Evander Holyfield and Riddick Bowe fight, and then all of a sudden, I can't remember who I seen look up first. It might have been Holyfield, but they're looking up, and all of a sudden, this guy comes flying in, and he flies right into the ropes and gets caught up in the ropes. And they're trying to get this guy out of there. He's got a helmet on, but the fans knocked him unconscious anyways. They were so mad. They were beating on him. They were breaking bottles over his head. I guess that was way back when you could have glass bottles in arenas. Doesn't seem like that was really ever a good idea, but especially in indoor arenas. But yeah, they beat the crap out of that guy. But then, yeah, that trilogy was amazing, and especially watching Evander Holyfield as such a smaller guy, and then Riddick Bowe with the nimbleness he had through that fight, the footwork, the cardio. Yeah, that was a great taste, great show of everything great about boxing. Power, cardio, heart, determination. Nate is 2-0. Oh, not Conor versus Nate. Nate is 2-0. Yeah, I gave Nate the second fight as well, but I do want to see Nate versus Conor 3. I know I might be in the minority, but that's really, the fight I care about most if Conor's going to come back. I would like to see Nate be more active, and because I don't think he's at the level he was then, though. I don't know what he needs to do, but if he could get back to that level. And maybe McGregor's not there right now either, because he's, just had another kid, just got married, but not training, drinking probably a lot of whiskey. Haven't even seen one of those, but I think they have one of the best rounds ever in that fight. What's considered best round ever almost unanimously was in the first fight of Arturo Gatti versus Mickey Ward, first fight of their trilogy. I want to say it was round 7. That whole trilogy is fire, though. I mean, just fireworks. That'll make anybody a fan of boxing. Cruz and Faber fought 3 times. First fight was in the WEC. Second fight was UFC 132, 2011. Third fight was UFC 199, 2016. Thank you, Torin. Torin, even with the dates on point. How about Paige going bare knuckle? Oh, man, bare knuckle is not... It is not kind to your face. Paige Van Zandt. Or maybe I should be talking to her husband that's over there in Bellator. Why you want to go into bare knuckle fighting and get your face ripped up? And she signed like a 6-fight contract. Maybe go over there and fight once. Go over there and try to fight, some tomato can or something. It gets you some photo ops for your Instagram, which she says she makes more of her Instagram than she does fighting anyways. Why bust that face up if you make more money on your Instagram than you do fighting? Yeah, that was frustrating to see. Oh, other big news in bare knuckle, though. BKFC, no longer pay-per-view. Bare knuckle is moving to DAZN. So I know a lot of people have canceled their DAZN memberships. Apparently, I basically have a lifetime membership, so I guess I should shout them out more often. Credit to DAZN. Shout out for the membership from a sponsorship, because I have not paid for DAZN since like 2 months first 2 months that it came into the United States. I think maybe they just forgot to take it off, but I'll definitely give them a shout out. Just keeping up with UFC till Cobra Kai comes back on. I haven't finished that. I do need to finish that. It is a very good series. I think I was about halfway through season 2, and I think I kind of lost track. Sometimes there's so much stuff out there, I forget about what series I'm watching. I actually started watching this Bruce Lee series too, because me and young David have been watching it. It was filmed over in China, I believe, because it's dubbed over. But it's like the legend of Bruce Lee, and it follows him from when he was a kid in high school and then on and on. Anyways, there's 50 episodes on it. They just put it on Netflix. If you want it in Chinese with the English subtitles, go to Netflix. If you want it in English with the dubbing, it's just not the greatest dubbing, but you got to pay more attention with the subtitles. It's free on YouTube. DAZN always sneaking up. Yeah, they had a lot of people canceled during the quarantine. And I got to admit, I definitely would have been thinking about it, if not for them reaching out and giving me the free membership. But I do like to support those kinds of things. Can you believe Paige Van Zandt went to bare knuckle fighting? She's pretty for that. Yeah, too pretty, man. Bare knuckle ex-con women pit fighter champion. You can modify your knuckles. Oh my goodness. What do you think about that Chase Super Kid at 45? Very raw, man. He lost his last fight. He's very raw. I don't know if he was ready for the UFC. He actually wrestled about 2 hours for me in Enumclaw. And I guess he's pretty well known over there. Everybody likes him. Super friendly kid. But, he was tested with the striking in his first fight, and then that last fight, that was just way in over his head. I think they tried to move him along too quickly. Milton Nelson says, hell yeah, with the $2 donation. Thank you, Milton Nelson. Third donation of the night. PBR Street Gang, Archangel Azriel, and my friend, Theron Milton Nelson. Good to see you, sir. Bare knuckle women fighting sounds horrifying. It can be a little horrifying for men, man. Yeah, I was pretty surprised to see that they think that has a market. It certainly makes the zone, makes me want to watch the zone a lot more. I'm more excited about the zone knowing that it's over there. Not about the women fighting. I'm honestly not real excited about that for bare knuckle. But yeah, the fact that bare knuckle boxing went over uh, to the zone, that's pretty freaking sweet. Lost to Alex Caceres. Yeah, Bruce Leroy. I was trying to think of the name. I don't know why I couldn't think of it. They really threw him in over his head. Alex Caceres, he is a legit stud. Ultimate Fighter. I mean, that guy's been fighting a lot. I mean, I know he's lost to some major guys, but that's not a guy that you put, a 19-year-old kid in his second fight in against. That was tough. That guy's got a lot of fights, too. I want to say he has like 36 or 37 fights. Your face will be modified to OMG page. Yeah, that's sad, man. How could her husband let her do that? Right? He's over in Bellator. Should have been like, come on, baby. Honestly, I'm going to make money someday. I'll make the big leagues. I won't be in Bellator forever. Paige just needs to stick with Instagram and calling out numbers at the bingo hall. Seems like there's something she could do, to keep herself relevant. You do, you do the Instagram. You could do some video stuff. And then she's got her husband over there in Bellator. That seemed like the natural match. Our bare knuckle must have thrown the money at her. I know they said it was a very good offer. 6 fights. That's a lot of bare knuckle fights, though. Nobody's fought 6 bare knuckle fights, I don't think, yet, as far as I can think. If anybody has, maybe Johnny Bedford has. He's been in a lot of them, but damn. That is a lot of bare knuckle fights. Hooper is Dustin Diamond's son. Hooper striking is garbage. Yeah, his striking looks like he's Ben Askren's son. It's pretty bad. Definitely, I mean, he's young. Work on it now. Work on it now. It's good, just not as frequent as we get UFC and other sports every weekend. Oh, yeah, bare knuckle's great. Alex Caceres is Mexican, too. Just found that out. I did not realize that. Paige should become a stripper. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. She can go on that OnlyFans, like, what's her name? Cardi B just did, right? What works on my bed bugs that have hatched in my elbow area? I am not the professional on that one, Milton. No idea, dude. Why didn't she go to Bellator? I have no idea, man. They must not offer her as much money as Bare Knuckle did. I'll tell you that. Sweet Lord, Paige is way hot. Yes, she is. Joe Riggs been in a lot of bare knuckle fights. Yeah. He's been in at least 4, I think. Yeah. I don't want to see her get battered like a pit fighter. That's like a gladiator losing in a street fight. Not right in my opinion. Disrespectful to her gyms, man. Yeah, I don't like it either. She could own her own film company. Needs to go back to school. She could do a lot of things. She could get a lot of tips over here in Seattle as a bikini barista. I mean, probably make more than she was in the UFC, to be honest. But, yeah, bare knuckle fighting. Bare knuckle fighting is not something I want to see Paige Van Zandt doing. That's for damn sure. Everybody's looking forward to UFC 252, though, right? I know you guys aren't going to, like, go and forget. Because it just turned 7 o'clock and we are 24 hours from the UFC 252 main card. Could you imagine her starting up her own Oh my goodness. She could be, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Melton. Melton Nelson. Oh man, that is hilarious. The Oprah of the industry. Oh wow. Would lose my shit if I trained her, right? Damn. Yeah, you got to think, I mean, I know it's her choice. She is a grown woman, but you gotta wonder what Mr. Van Zandt thinks about that. I'm drawing a blank at his name too. It's a good thing we have this thing called the internet, right? She just got married not that long ago too. Austin Vanderford. There we go. Austin Vanderford. And he's got my second least favorite kind of tattoos, and that's those neck tattoos with the freaking creepy eyeball. I don't know what's up with that. If you weren't here earlier, face and head tattoos, number one ridiculous thing to do to yourself. But, hey, love you in there too, Melton. Sparking bowl, about to water plants. That sounds like fun, sir. Have the plants ever talked back to you, Melton? I know you put those videos up and you make those great headpieces with the plants, which are awesome. I haven't seen them in a while. And the necklaces and different things you make with the plants. You ever been to that world where the plants start to talk back? Page could be Trump's press secretary. Dude, he would get some more votes, I'll tell you what. Put her in like a, like a little short blue dress, and yeah. Not a bad idea. Or Joe Biden's. She might give him a heart attack, though, and that might be the end of him. Wow, that is great for bare knuckle. Well, I guess. I've seen boxers get destroyed in that bare knuckle. It's not a point sport at all. No, it is not a point sport. It's a fucking war. Bare knuckle fighting championship is just a straight out war. I mean, you can't do the throws and different things and stuff, but I mean, that just shows you how much different striking with gloves is. It is bloody. And those rounds are only 2 minutes, which I like. I like the shorter rounds. And the 5 rounds really speaks to the guys that are getting a little older, but they still have something in the tank. You only have to have 2, that you can go 2 minutes, rest for 1. I think that's advantageous towards those guys. I expect to see some of that stuff in the Legends Only League that Mike Tyson's putting together. Of course, he's fighting Roy Jones Jr. on September 12th. That's a month from yesterday. Of course, we'll be doing that. But he's talking about bringing back some of these legends. I imagine that's some of the rules maybe he'll look at. Some 2-minute rounds in boxing. Tough man contest, they even experimented with 1-minute rounds for a little while. I did Tough Man 2 different years, and one of the years I did it, we did 1-minute rounds. And 1-minute round, 1-minute break. You can be pretty explosive. Not seeing any women's bare knuckle fight. I don't know if they've had it. What's up, Sam302? Did Stipe and DC trash talk each other during the press? Not really. DC kind of pressed Stipe a little bit on those body shots, on working for the counter, and said, watch, Stipe is going to smirk, and he did. That's about as far as it went. DC compared himself to Michael Jordan. Stipe never really talks a whole lot. He kind of acts like he's half asleep, but, he kind of looks that way while he's fighting, too, sometimes. So, hard to tell what he's thinking. He didn't say a whole lot, though. Yeah. Rainbow suspenders. Infinite wisdom. Oh, Jesus. Not sure I want to, man. Some people are badly mismatched. Yeah, no, I'm not really looking forward to seeing women's bare knuckle, to be honest. I like bare knuckles. Man, yeah, that's tough for me. That's a tough one. Yeah, she could follow through with anything she wants. Oh, man, imagine she gets that face messed up, though, man. Imagine. That Instagram career out the window. Hunt smoke around. Yep. Hell yeah. We got to get Fedor versus Tyson. Yeah, put them in their boxing rules. Put them in their boxing rules. Give them 4-ounce gloves, Tyson and Fedor. 5 2-minute rounds. 5.5-minute rounds. Who says they even have to be a solid minute? You know, who says they have to land on a, on an actual minute? 1.5-minute rounds maybe. 5.5-minute rounds. 4-ounce glove boxing. Damn. Who wouldn't buy that? That'd be fire. Who's that you're saying is part Mexican? I don't know. Stipe is like a brick wall. You can't get much of a reaction out of the guy. Yeah, we were talking about his acting career. We were already planning it earlier after MMA. Or if he was a collector. We got 3 jobs for him. Actor, collector, and then the host of To Catch a Predator. DC is more like Shaq, if anything. Yep. Dude, he walks by Cain Velasquez and he says he's Michael Jordan. He's acting again, right? Right? I mean, yeah, let's not erase the legacy of Cain Velasquez just yet. He's pretending. Easy money. This is true. She's too hot for bare knuckle. I agree, Milton Nelson. I certainly agree. Well, weigh in, guys, tomorrow. I believe it's at 9 a.m. Let me look it up real quick before we get off here. I didn't look in the weigh-in. I would have really liked to have gone live for the weigh-in. I think I might still be finishing up some stuff at work, though. Because I got to do the store, and then I got to do an order, and then I got to go to the warehouse tomorrow, so... You see, they don't have the stream up for it yet. I was looking on YouTube to see if they had scheduled the live stream. But yeah, I think it's like 9 a.m. because I think they're all pretty much, I think they, the fighters lost and they're going to have all morning weigh-ins now. I'm not seeing them. I was pretty sure that they were, oh, you know what? They're on Fight Pass. They're on Fight Pass. So let me click on, that's where I seen it at earlier, is on Fight Pass. So let me click on that. And that should tell us. Fight Pass prelims. Oh, prelims don't start until 4 p.m. on Saturday, by the way. Is that right? 4 p.m. Pacific or Eastern? I'll have to look at that. I'll have to re-look at that for a second, too. I don't want to miss any of those. But, yeah, I don't see the weigh-ins put up now, but I'm pretty sure they're 9 a.m. Huh. Yeah, if anybody knows, go ahead and put it in the comments there. I don't know why I couldn't find it all of a sudden, though. I know I've seen it before. Well, I'm part Mexican, the part my father doesn't speak to anymore. Oh, Jesus Christ. I really got to read these comments out loud before I read them. Or read them to myself before I read them out loud. Her hubby is going away. Damn, I missed the trash talk eras. Archangel in a battle of wills. Who wins, Mike? DC or Stipe? And will the winner be able to defeat Francis Ngannou? I'm going to stick to my projection. If Daniel Cormier comes in under 245, I'm going to lean towards Cormier. If Daniel Cormier comes in closer to 250 or over 250, I think it gets really hard for DC to win, and I pick Stipe Miocic. If Cormier comes in right at 240 or like a couple pounds under, it could be a really hard night for Stipe. Say DC wins based on how easy he was controlling the fights. KJ Noons versus Nick Diaz. Oh, yeah, that was a great one, man. That was a great fight, Rusty. DC can make adjustments and eat less food. Well, he certainly can. And I think it's got to be easier for some of these guys during the quarantine. I haven't dropped a lot of weight. I've been doing more physical job. I've been working 7 days a week since I bought this tortilla business. But I've found it much easier to keep my diet cleaner since restaurants are basically closed. We have sit-down restaurants, like 50% capacity. Last time I went out, it might be back to 25% capacity now. I don't know. I don't really go out anymore. That's awkward. It's even awkward to go to the drive-ins, and most of the places here, you can't walk in and get the meal. You have to go through the drive-thru, and then you have the mask. And then I went to, it was a Burger King one day, and they asked me if I could wear a mask in the drive-in, and I was just like, I get it, but you know what? I wear a mask at work all day. It kind of creeps me out after a while. Kind of feel like I'm in like an episode of Black Mirror. And I was like, I'll just make my food at home, and it just made it easier. What's up, Wyatt Matheson in the house? Is Popeyes for life. Wyatt's taking DC, right? Nunes versus Diaz was great. BKA is just bloodbath. Archangel, if Stipe wins, he better fight Francis. I think DC is going to retire if he wins. I agree, and I think Wyatt, I think that Stipe will fight Francis Ngannou if he wins, if they make that fight. John Jones could jump up and really, screw things up, and I would imagine anybody, Stipe included, is going to go for the bigger money fight. I think, especially at this point in his career, I think Francis is a more dangerous opponent than John Jones. But I'd love to see the rematch. 0 is better than 1. Trump should hire Page if he was smart, says Melton. Oh, Jesus. Jones versus Stipe is the only way to go. Ngannou is boring. He hasn't been in his last few fights, though. Then you got people. Tough to breathe in those masks all day. I'm with you, Mike. Yeah, man. I wearing them at work. I got the neck gaiters. I should try to get them as a sponsor. They're not a sponsor, but I'm going to shout them out anyways. It's just SA, like the letters SA. If you Google it, and it says buy 4 get 1, or buy 1 get 4 free. But in any way, you get 5 of these things for $20, and they're much more breathable. And another thing is like if I'm going to be in and out of a couple places, like my wife tricks me into going out shopping in a few places, or in and out of a few places. I'll wear it around my neck. That way I'm not throwing my mask down and recontaminating it or going through a bunch of masks. Or something I'll do, I'm riding with the wife or driving, and I'll set the mask down. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, it fell down. It's on the seat. Now I gotta find another mask. Shit, do I even have another mask? It's already there around my neck. Just real easy to pull up and much easier to breathe. Fire and hires is Melton. I'm going to bet a shitload on Francis if they make that fight. Me and you will have to have, we'll have to have some kind of honor bet or something where the loser has to do something embarrassing or something. Wyatt. We're in some strange times. Masks aren't great. Bacteria lives them out. Must practice hyper-oral hygiene. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to speak against masks for sure. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube for one thing. For another thing, I mean, I don't, I don't think they're hurting. I think they're helping, if anything, more than hurting. And but yeah, clean your masks. If you're not wearing the disposable ones, man, clean those masks. I've seen some nasty masks and bandanas around town. My wife told me the other day she was traveling and she's seen a lady in the bathroom and this lady had her mask out on the sink because she had a bunch of crap on her mask, like from eating. It was so dirty, and she had it laid out across this dirty sink in the bathroom, and she was scrubbing the thing and washing it out and then shoved it right back on her face. I was like, that is nasty. I felt bad for her husband or boyfriend. Operation Lockstep, Mastermind Weaponized Virus. Hey, I can't get too into that, guys. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. They're pretty sensitive about that stuff. Pretty damn sensitive. But yeah, I'll try to get some time to go live tomorrow some too. I think I'm going to go down and try to get with young David and get a little time on EA UFC 4. I have not played the beta yet. Has anybody played it? Okay, first. Has anybody played the beta for EA UFC 4? It is available when you take, you can take your free trial. I can think free 7-day trial on EA Access. And you get 10 hours of gameplay. The game comes out in 4.5. Comes out at midnight. I pre-ordered it. Wait, it might come out at midnight Eastern time, so it might be out in just a couple hours. If it is, I'll be playing it. Looking forward to playing it. I work all day next 2 days, unfortunately. I hear you, man. I work every day now, Wyatt, but some of them are not so long. Saturday, pretty nice. I got a big load coming in. I work hard from like 4 to 9, but then I'm done for the day. So that's nice. 4 to like 8 or 9. Have a good night, Infinite Wisdom. Thanks for coming in. Yeah, but I definitely want to play it. And eventually we'll have to get a Fights with Friends EA UFC tournament on. And don't forget, Saturday I will be giving away a copy of EA UFC 4 for PlayStation and Xbox. I'm on PS4 right now. Wyatt, what are you on? I do have an Xbox as well. That's what I had first, but the internet stopped working on it for me, and I got a real good deal on a PS4. Young David wanted to play it. I think more people are in here on PS than Xbox. I'm hoping you're on the same as me, Wyatt. Or I might have to try to get that Xbox working. Jones says PS gang. I'm on PS4. Nice. Oh, we'll definitely have to play each other. I suck. I absolutely suck. I'll tell you, if we have a tournament, you're going to have a pretty good chance at beating me, but I have a lot of fun playing the game. Young David kills me. I'd like to think he's pretty good, or maybe I'm just that bad, but I cannot beat that kid. Maybe if I took Demetrius Johnson against, maybe if I took Francis Ngannou against Demetrius Johnson, maybe I beat him, but... All right, guys, I think I'm going to go check that out. Check out EA UFC 4 Access. Follow me over on Twitter because I'm doing trivia questions every day. I'll be throwing one out actually here real soon since you guys are on here. And that's an entry towards winning that every day. Seattle Mike at Fights W Friends. And then some of you have been... I will stream at Archangel. I don't know if I'll stream it tonight. I don't know if I want to bring it up and mess with it tonight, but I'm definitely going to stream some EA UFC 4. We'll have to stream the tournament. Now, Phone Dave and Mike sounds like a great end to the day. Thank you, Wyatt. Absolutely. Thanks for coming in. Hey, everybody. Thank you for everybody coming in for this. I think it was fun to get everybody hyped for this great trilogy fight coming up. Thank you again for all the donations. PBR Straight Gang, Melton Nelson, Archangel, Azrael, about $30 in donations. That was a great surprise, for a non-fight night. So thank you so much for that. As always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.